Bam! Happy Monday, everybody. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning in Chicago. This is going to be a real short one. Good morning, Elvis. Good morning to you.
Morning.
This is going to be a really short hangout. This is going to be the last day of the box build today, and the completed project should be finished. Hopefully, I'm pretty sure 90% confident it'll be done today. The box builds. There's a few little touch items. Ginger, how you doing? There's things to be returned on here. Yeah, get some money back on the project, and at the end of it, I'll net it all out and tell you what the cost of building the box was. Of course, the biggest component of that is the lumber, the sheet of lumber. On there, still around, not watching with Marshall. Love you, bye. Bye, Nicole. Bella Rose, the queen of Buffalo.
Hey,
Good
Bella
morning
Rose.
to you, honey.
Good morning.
Hey, Vampira. Good morning to you.
Was that Nicole in there? What did she say?
She doesn't want to be on when you're when you're on.
Oh,
So,
okay. Well, obviously she's
rather than
watching.
dusting it up, she makes a intelligent adult choice to just stay clear and then just do. I like that. I'm not here to have controversy and things like that.
Well, it's fine. There's a lot of other people watching. In
Yeah.
fact, I had 220 people watching last night, and almost 1,500 people watched my hangout. And
Good morning, Beryl.
people are interested in the box, whether people are talk about it or not. It's been a very elaborate, time-consuming build, and a lot of people are interested in it. And even though Rosie's followers, most of them are not RVers or nomads, they're talking about this box. And because that's been a lot of
$3 sodas too.
people are interested in this box. It's kind of,
More than that, though.
I've seen women comment from the drama community and say, "Hey, Rosie, good job on this box."
Yeah,
and they're not
nice.
even RVers
Well,
and stuff.
I have very nice people from the drama
Yeah,
community
so a
in
lot of
my
people-
chat. Some of them are my moderators and things. The point I'm making is, I can tell my channel is transitioning. I'm starting to pick up more and more people that are also interested in the van dwelling life and and a few people in the RV life. I mean, people have been inspired to get RVs. We got D-Dubs, and I did not do that hangout. Hopefully I'll do that tonight, update that. But he was inspired to look at a Class C RV. Thank goodness he's not buying it, because I think the thing's a rattle trap myself and a money pit. But more and more people are talking about living in a van and the realities of living in a van, and the way that you can save money in a van and still live well. So I give Marshall a lot of credit for being a pioneer 4 years ago by deciding, I'm just going to go full time. It's coming up on August, right?
4 years full time. Bought the rig in June of
4 years.
2014, and didn't.
Good morning,
really,
Tess Cooks. Good morning, sir.
Yeah. This
Let me
August.
ask you a question, since you're always asking me. You always talk about the upside of the van life and the nomad life. Name the downside thing, the biggest downside thing of this life, this nomad, van-dwelling nomad life, urban explorer.
Well, there's always pros and cons to everything. Some of the downsides are if you have a larger camper van, you got to realize that.
No, I mean in your case.
In my case,
Yeah.
well,
You
just,
do have a decent-sized camper van.
yeah. Overall, if you have a high top camper van, it's hard to park it. Obviously, you can't park it in a parking garage or underground parking. The gas mileage is obviously not as good as a smaller van like Rosie's. Maintenance as far as parts are pretty cheap, but getting into a shop because of the weight and height of these Class B vans can be quite difficult, and a lot of mechanics can be intimidated and say, "I'm not going to work on it. It's a motorhome."
How about on a daily basis, though? Anything that, any downside on a daily or weekly that you can think about in this
On a
life
daily
stuff?
basis, as far as routine, I think that it's. I would think mainly it would be just the gas mileage. You don't want to drive that much because they don't get good gas. They don't get as good gas mileage as a smaller van. So if you can minimize your driving, that would save you a lot of money. If you can find cheap places to eat, that can save you a lot of money. Food is expensive. Or if you can prepare your own meals or make your own sandwiches, that'll save you a ton of money. But I would say one probably the two major downsides about just van life overall or on a routine basis is number one, the weather. You want to be somewhere where the weather is comfortable. For me, I like temperatures between 75 to 35 degrees. 35 to, that I like it cooler. I don't like hot weather, and obviously who likes cold weather? So temperature is number one. Climate will make or break your van life, because there's some days where the weather's so nice I don't want to get out of my van. I'll just be laying in my van all day. And when it's hot or when it's cold, then you want to be out of the van. So I think temperature, climate is number one what makes or breaks a van life. Number two is, the larger your van is, the more gas your gas mileage. So the larger your van, the more comfortable amenities you have, but you're going to have to pay for it in gas mileage. So that's why with Rosie's van, it's a very basic van. Like I said, I don't. She could she could build it and make it more for a full time. You can make this van more of a full time van. There's room in here, but it'll never be a fully self-contained Class B camper van. It's just too small.
Well, that's some of the downside of being on the road. I think if depending on your rig and where you park, I think you can count on police encounters early on as you learn the ropes of where you can park. I don't have to face that issue with a small. This just looks like a utility van. It could be with any business here at all, and that's a real plus side for me for this lifestyle. And the fact that he says that you can live cheap on the road. You can live incredibly cheap on the road with coupons and things. For my first swing around the country, I'm more into, trying the food cultures. So I always figured what I save on hotels, I could spend a little bit and eat a little better. Like last night at Kebabi House, I've pestered Marshall for weeks to have a kebab, to be in a kebab place. And last night was great, but it's still $19 for the platter. But it was a family size. I mean, it was huge, the thing. But that's the kind of trade-off you can have. Like I only eat one meal a day, so for me it's fine. If you take $19 over the course of the day and maybe a pack of chips for a snack, you're still less than your budget can go a long way. You take the $3,000, $4,000 a month you'd spend on the hotels, and you back out the $600 a month you would spend on food for eating a little better one meal. You're still so far ahead of the game in this life.
In Chicago, like Rosie was saying.
Good morning.
In Chicago, like Rosie was saying, you can spend $20-$30 on one meal, or you can spend as low as
MB. Good morning, honey.
As $5 or $6 on a meal. There's places here that you can eat for $5 or $6 a really good meal. So you can literally eat in Chicago, depending on how much you eat, what your food consumption is. You can eat from anywhere from $5 to $20 a day. There's a lot of options in Chicago. And
the other question, you can fit any, you can plug in any budget. I mean, if you want to eat Chicago hot dogs or a Polish dog or something, you can do that. You can eat cheap. You may not eat the healthiest because, of course, fresher foods cost more money to buy that, but you should make sure you're doing that. I have to be careful about my vitamin intake. I haven't eaten a lot of fruit since I've been out on the road. But the other question was, does it get lonely? Do you ever get lonely when you're out? Are you a loner or are you a social person?
No, I kind of look at it this way. When you're living the van life, if you're on the road and you're in an unfamiliar place, I would consider it lonely. I think actually people who live in stationary living, sticks and bricks, like homes and apartments, I think they're lonely. They have a routine, mundane life where they do the same thing every day. But when you're living the van life, you're out. It forces you to get out of the van, and actually it helps you meet people. If you're going to go to a coffee shop or festival event, if you're going to go out to the beach or park, it actually helps you to get outdoor. And
so I don't ever get lonely or miss company, and things like that.
I get when I'm on the road. I get as far as I miss my mom or say my family to see them. But at the same time, I think that the RV lifestyle actually, I think people who live a regular life, like most of you people live, you live in apartments or homes. If you don't talk to your neighbor, then who are you going to talk to? You come on the internet and you socialize with people. But when you're living the RV lifestyle, you're socializing with people in real life.
Point. Good point.
And
Plus, I think the stimulus of being, especially in an urban area. No offense to people that like camping. I'm not, as you guys know, I'm legendary for not really enjoying the camping life. I did it too much probably when I was younger, but when you're in an urban environment, especially in a major city, there's so much to explore. There's so much stimulus that for quite a while, I think that can carry you and you don't feel bored because every street or every neighborhood's a new neighborhood to explore. But I'm, on the other hand, I'm an extremely social person. So for me to be alone, it would hit me a lot faster that I'm not having fun. It's probably one of the reasons that I enjoy traveling and being with people on the road, maybe a D-Dub, Marshall, people like that, because of the companionship aspect of when you can share an experience with somebody and you can talk about it, like Kebabi House or the Ishtar restaurant. It makes it, you bounce it off of each other, and he'll look at me to see if I enjoyed the food or whatever, and I'll look at, he's a very harsh critic about the food, so his choices are usually spot on perfect for stuff because he's done his research. But I just think that aspect of in-person socialization is great. Good morning, Nola. Good morning, honey. How are you? So that's one concern is that for me, there's so many on the road these days, but I don't see a lot of class. I come to Chicago, I hardly saw any RVs in Detroit at all. In my opinion, Michigan is a camping state where people seem to be much more, the people I talked to in Michigan talked about RVing, people that live there for a long time, they're all about, they have their own specific area, they like their cabin or something that they like to go up to. In Chicago, I've seen very, very little in the way of RVs on the street. In California, they're coated with RVs.
I wanted to point out just a couple things here. Number one, people who live in the nomadic lifestyle, like out there in the Southwest in the desert, a lot of them, some of them like to be alone. Some of them are in tribes, like Pandemonium. She's a transgendered person who's doing the RV lifestyle, and she's got her own, what they call a tribe, that she travels with. And she lives a very social lifestyle, even though she's a rural nomad. Yeah, you can make it lonely if you want, or you can be in the tribe like Pandemonium, like Bob Wells, like all those people out there. And another thing is, like Rosie's saying, traveling with somebody. Yes, I get a joy out of seeing Rosie's reaction to food. I would get a joy out of seeing Rosie's reaction to a motorhome, to see what she thinks. It's fun to see what people think about different things, the social aspect of it. So,
yeah, speaking of, he's going to be interviewing a couple that has a wonderful camper van. I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but it's one that he discovered on the roadway and approached the people and asked to do an interview about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what their expectations. What do they think it's going to be like with the camper van, and what do they want it to do? Do they want to go plug into an RV park, or do they want? To me, Class Bs are meant to go in tight areas and urban areas. So I'll be interested in seeing what these people do with that. So that'll be coming up. But socialization on the road, I think, is really, really critical. That's why it's so nice when people reach out when I'm on the road, as people did yesterday. Nice gal down in Arizona and some other places. New York, if you're coming through the area, let me know. Love to meet up. You can sofa crash here if you want to. I love that kind of stuff. Hey, Poppy. Let's see. Hey, Richard. Good morning to you. If I missed anything, thank you. Nathan says your urban boondocking is absolutely amazing. Yeah, today we'll finish up everything, and then tomorrow will be a big shift of gears here for Chooching. Of course, it's weather permitting. We've had some 95-degree days, 90% humidity.
I think it's interesting with the Chooching here in Chicago, which I was very, very interested to do with Rosie. In the daytime, all the restaurants are open. It's like a food paradise. And in the nighttime, you've got the nighttime chooching.
Hey,
So
J Money.
we could be chooching. We literally could be chooching here 12 hours a day. Because in the daytime, you've got all these places that are open. It's like a food paradise. But I don't like chooching in the daytime because it's hot and you got the sun beating down on you.
That's a good time to do an auto chooch when you have the camera mounted in front.
And you're
like
driving
I
around.
would do
Exactly.
nighttime in the south side of Chicago.
Oh yeah, you don't want.
But I would have the camera mounted. And that's a good daytime chooch.
That's
when
a
you
good
roll
daytime
through
chooch,
that
yep.
areas
So-
where there's big quantity, big things to see.
Exactly.
And I also want to be out on the beach, frolicking on the beach one day too.
That would be cool, yeah. I think probably for the driving chooches, we should do it in the daytime. And like you say, a lot of places are open in the daytime or not that late to eat. You could do the beach in the daytime, and then in the nighttime, you could do the nighttime chooching for the nightlife and stuff.
Yeah, cities are always more beautiful by night anyway. Let's face it, they're more. You look
The
at
lights
a
and
Toronto
stuff.
skyline, you look at a Chicago skyline, an epic drive that Mr. X did.
The signs of the businesses, right? The signs of the businesses
it's all
are
lit up, and
yeah.
you see the individuality of, it has more dimensionality to it at nighttime. It's more
Right.
vibrant to life. Daytime people are working.
It's more of a daytime.
It's more of a productive. It's more like all about business during the daytime, and nighttime is all about fun. So
Right.
I agree. The nighttime, plus it gets cooler too,
Yep, exactly.
and that makes it really nice. So I think it's going to be a very solid week of fun in Chicago beyond today. I know the videos have been few and far between, mainly food videos because I really eat once a day, but things are really going to pick up steam with the live streams and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be exciting. And then the plans for the future too, starting to lay that and coordinate those plans too. Weaving D-Dubs back into the plan. He has his own agenda of what he wants to accomplish.
So are you going to elaborate on the D-Dubs agenda tonight or
I think tonight, because I
Okay.
wanted to. He may pop by this evening, just early, only for about an hour or so to talk about that. To talk about the plans. It'll probably begin after the Labor Day holiday. That's still down in Southern California. You still have 4 solid months after that before the weather even gets a little. You have a little bit of very, very minimal rain down in Southern California anyway. So, good morning, Kit and Ken. You should have looked up that word. What word? Rosie treats her chat. Let's see. You should have looked up that word before adopting it. I'm not sure what word you're talking about. Chooch.
I just have to say
I've been using Chooch for 6 years on my channel.
I just have to say this as far as my opinion about, and I've said this before, with D-Dubs. I hope D-Dubs gets a van.
I can care less, Kit and Cat.
Yeah, I just
Like
want
I said, I'm not one to open Urban Dictionary and see what things is. People have been on my channel for 6 years. They know what a chooch is. So.
I just wanted to say this, like I said it before. I think with what D-Dub is doing with his lifestyle, if he got a van, any kind of van, minivan, cargo van, passenger conversion van, it doesn't have to be a Class B van.
Good morning, Missy Jenn.
Good morning, Jen. I think it would be more efficient for his lifestyle and what he's doing. It's more realistic than pitching a tent and riding around in a scooter.
Safer, too.
It's safer, yeah, and it's more economical than going to hostels and stuff. And if he did that, then I think that, I would become a fan and watch. So hopefully somehow, some way he gets that and he caravans around and travels with Rosie. What I'd like to see Rosie do though is, let me ask you a question. If D-Dub got a van, would you do a van build for him? Would you build it into a camper?
I'm not sure. Depends what the expectations are. It all depends what size. You can't really build out a minivan and stuff like that.
I've seen a lot of people build out minivans
Well,
all
I
over
haven't.
YouTube.
It's not. I'd have to see. And I don't want my whole life to turn into build. You know,
yeah.
I've worked 46 years to get to this point now where I can sort of enjoy
Sort of
life and
enjoy
get
it,
out
yeah.
there. But if it's a challenge type of thing, I'm not sure I'd be willing to do that type of work for free anymore, even at the RTR to do
I see.
builds and stuff like that. Because I need to sustain myself on the road too.
Right.
You know. So
Actually, if you
good morning, Joey D.
Actually, if you think about it, if you were to go to the RTR and even say do some free work, say for about a week, you could put yourself out there and say, hey, I could. You could make money. You could make money doing some carpentry work or electrical work, like picking up work. RV Pepper Wayne is down there and he's making money. That's actually a serious way of making money and stuff.
It is.
On
But I didn't work all these years, to pick up work. I already have a pickup. I already have a job.
Right.
I told them I wouldn't be available for 3 more weeks to really. I shouldn't have started that too. Shouldn't contract work for medical agency credentialing and compliance work. I should have waited till this trip was over to really begin that at home.
I gotta say this: if I had Rosie's carpentry abilities, and she's got plumbing skills and electrical skills. If I had those kind of skills, I would just go down to the Southwest and work on people's rigs and make money, and you can work as much as you want.
Yeah.
And it's cash
we'll
money
see how
and stuff.
It goes.
So
I don't want to be in the Southwest in
and
the heat of 120 degrees down there.
Well, you could be there in the wintertime. Actually, it would be content plus making money and stuff. So, and a lot of people are doing it. Like I said, RV Pepper Wayne, everybody knows him. He worked for Nomadic Fanatic.
Yeah,
did
he
some
needs,
jobs.
he needs to do that. He
he's down there doing
to
that.
make that money. So that's a good deal.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll pick up projects here and there. Hopefully, people will see the completed project here, and they'll appreciate the effort and engineering that went into the project, given the limitations and constraints.
I think not necessarily carpentry. You could do like solar work, wiring, solar. A lot of people are doing solar installs, and that's not as time consuming and involved like carpentry.
Yeah.
And you could do that and make a quick buck easily if you put yourself out there out there in the Southwest. But a lot of people are doing that. So.
One important thing I'd like to do. Good morning, Glinda. One important thing I'd like to do is add a sealed battery and get a fan mounted in here to be able to run that, because last night was really oppressive till about 3 o'clock in the morning, and finally I had the windows halfway down, and it was just an extremely oppressive night. So get a little air circulating is always good.
That makes a big difference. I think you should put.
I may not even get a fantastic fan. I may get a high mount up here to just a fixed fan that just blows up there. And it's a very low voltage draw. You could run that all night. So yeah, the fantastic fan is good. I'm not sure if I need something that fancy.
I think what I would do is not the Fantastic fan. I would put in the Max Air fan. It's one piece. It's very aerodynamic. It goes up and down. It's all one assembly. And you could put it wherever you want in the van and open your windows, and that would be a great investment. Get the draw and stuff, yeah.
Because I can basically sleep in any temperature. Cheryl, the doctor's going to do more tests today. She said I may have to. Oh, man. I hope not, Cheryl. God, yes, of course I will. I don't want you to have any amputation. Kid Cat tries to direct a script, but it never works on here. People know my chooching for years. Let's see, there's fans. Yeah, they do intake. They're reversible.
They'll take the air in or push the air out. And if you did put a fan in here, Rosie, with these windows being up here, would you put it more up towards here or towards the back?
No, I'd have to put it in the metal part. I'm not going to put it. I would put it more towards the back, so it's not directly blowing down on my face.
Okay. So more towards the middle of the van.
Yeah, more towards the middle of the van. Good morning. Good morning to you, Sister Earth. Nice to see you this morning. This is going to be a short one today. I'm only gone 5 more minutes. There's a lot of stuff to be accomplished today to finish this off. I've put enough time into this build. It's time to move on to really getting out there and chooching. I don't know what the weather's been. I've been blessed with fantastic weather. I've not seen rain since Nebraska. Not one single day of rain. No thunderstorms. No nothing. I've really had a great, luck of the Irish to have excellent weather out here. I've never had that confrontation of a long stretch of bad weather. I would think it's kind of miserable to be in Van Dweller and have rain after rain, like a week of rain. That must get tiring after a while.
I've recommended to Rosie and to you, I've recommended that she should come to Chicago in September. September is actually the perfect weather month. It's not too hot or not too cold.
Yeah.
That's the perfect
Yeah,
weather
that's
month,
fine,
so.
Kit and Kat. You'll never get any traction here, but you keep expressing your opinion. You're always welcome. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that understand what real the context of chooching is on here.
So Rosie,
nothing's going to dissuade them from.
Quick question for you, just a quick question that I want to.
Low lives, yeah.
Just a quick question I want to point out. Besides the fan that you want to put in there, would you do anything else in this van? Anything in a long shot? Anything else?
I might put solar on to keep the battery charged up. That's a very passive, simple system. You don't need a big fancy panel to keep a sealed battery.
What about an inverter?
I've got just simple inverters that I run here.
Okay.
As you've seen in here, you already saw one of them, the double.
But would you have an inverter that runs off your house battery and solar, so you could hook up, charge things up, your laptop, stuff like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would have an inverter on there. I would definitely have an inverter on there. I think that makes a lot of sense. But I might be stepping up to a Class B camper van. That's my real goal. Now, of course, I lose some stealth aspects with that,
Mm-hmm.
But I figure if he's been able to do that for 4 years, why can't I do it too? So with that, having cop encounters and all that. Oh, Elvis, good morning. I think you have the most beautiful eyes. Boxy Lass says that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Cheryl. I hope everything goes well. And don't forget the unofficial sponsor of the Morning Chooch.
Double D.
Start your day the Chicago way with Dunkin' Donuts.
I've always imagined Rosie being a news anchor. Good morning, Santa Rosa.
Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close this down. It's a real shorty today. I want to thank you for being along on the channel. Like I say, we got an agenda to get accomplished today. I want to wrap up, clean up, and move on with the real reason I came here for the Chicago experience. With that, love you, Missy Jenn. I miss you, Dory Lynn. Nice to see you, honey. Give Georgie a big squeeze for me. So, and also thank you for taking care of Bobby. Miss you. It won't be too long before I see you. I've been on the road for over 5 weeks now as an urban van dwelling nomad. June 9th to July 16th, I believe it is today. Thanks for watching, everybody, and woo!